What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a spicy update thanks to Joe to Dark Magician. Now this does involve the brand new toy box engine that I had shown you previously, but it also involves a very small Chimera engine, which does make it more Yugi themed than you know, because obviously Yugi is famous for using Gazelle and Baphomet in his deck, and being able to utilize the toy box engine as the connector between the two, you can utilize the Dark Magician cards and the Chimera cards to get you a full-on Yugi end board. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. I'll also show you at the end of the video a 2-card combo that utilizes everything shown in this deck as well. So how you can use the Dark Magicians and the toy boxes to get you to the Chimeras, and then how you use the Chimeras to then instigate even more interruptions on your opponent. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. We're going to dive headfirst into the profile and show you exactly what we've got. So we're going to start off with the Dark Magician cards themselves. We are playing 2 Dark Magician himself, followed up by 3 Magician's Rod. Now this is your ideal normal summon, even with the Chimera engine, because we do have the inclusion of the toy boxes and Toy Tank lets you special summon a light monster from your hand. This is how you can actually use your normal summon on Magician's Rod and not worry about the clash with the Mirror Sword Knight. Then of course we do play triple Magician Souls. Magician Souls is even more important in this particular build as it is the one way that you can utilize the toy box engine. Being able to summon down Magician Souls, send in the 2 toy box monsters to then draw 2 more cards and then revive those 2 toy box monsters gives you the ability to climb straight up into a Link 3 if you need to, and this is all before you fusion lock yourself with the Chimera engine. We are then still playing 3 Illusion of Chaos. Now you can change these ratios around as you see fit. You can either do 3 preparations and 2 illusions, or like I've done here and go 3 illusions. You could, if you wanted to, find a bit more space, cut them down and do a 2 and 2. I have also highly considered playing Allure of Darkness because ultimately once you've used the Illusion of Chaos and put it back into the deck, you're then going to want to be drawing it in again to get you to a second Magician Souls, but eventually you will run out of targets, so having Illusion Chaos in the hand just becomes free discard fodder for, of course, your Nightmare Apprentice. Then of course, continuing with the Dark Magician cards, we've got the 1 Tomias the United Dragon, followed up by 2 Soul Servants, the 1 Dark Magic Circle, and of course the 1 Secret of Dark Magic, plus the Eternal Soul. So we've got the lines of everything we need to. What you need to remember is the Secret of Dark Magic will actually allow you to fuse into the Guardian Chimera as well, as long as you are using Dark Magician as material, so that is one of the fusion monsters that can be utilized by both fusion spells. Obviously, the Dark Magical Circle could be cut out, and so could Eternal Soul, as it does threaten you a little bit more if your opponent does out it more consistently. But it's just cards that you want to keep into the deck anyway to keep it within the Yugi theme, while also still having some forms of utility. Obviously, more times than not, the Dark Magical Circle reveal 3 from the top of the deck is going to whiff, and you're not going to succeed. However, it's morely there for that target banish when you do summon that Dark Magician, which you can do with the greatest of ease, whether you're going to go down through the Selene route of play, or whether you're just going to be able to bring it back with Magician Souls, or of course Eternal Soul itself. Then onto the toy box engine. I highly advise everyone to be picking this up and getting 3 of everything. So 3 of the toy box, 3 soldier and 3 tank, even though we only play 3 toy box, 1 soldier and 1 tank. Now these are currently, I believe, like £1 per copy. Like I said, it's very worthwhile in my opinion to be picking this up, whether you're going to be using it for Dark Magician or whether you're going to use it for a rank 4 engine. The idea is that these 5 cards plus Magician's Souls, which also got reprinted in Rarity Collection 2, and of course Illusion of Chaos, just makes it incredibly easy and powerful to be utilized in any type of deck that you want to, whether you want to be searching out a light monster or whether you want to be utilizing it for a rank 4 or just general draw engine. It is insane. So for those of you unfamiliar with this, Toy Box basically lets you put Toy Soldier and Toy Tank into the Spell and Trap Zone as spells. Then you summon down Magician's Souls, it uses effect to send the Soldier and the Tank to the graveyard, draw 2 new cards, and then when they're sent from the field to the graveyard, they reset themselves, or summon themselves back, sorry. Toy Soldier, if you already control Toy Box, allows you to search out a light monster, otherwise it will just search you out a second copy of the Toy Box. And then Toy Tank allows you to tribute it to then special summon a level 6 or lower monster from the hand. So again, it's not even really restricted to the light monster, but the idea is that Toy Soldier will search you out your Mirror Sword Knight, and then your tank will allow you to special summon it. Then you can tribute off the Mirror Sword Knight, go into your Big Wing Baphomet. This will now fusion lock you, but Big Wing Baphomet will then search you out your Gazelle and of course your Chimera fusion. And then of course you can fuse these 2 and start going down the Chimera line. Obviously with Big Wing Baphomet and then the Gazelle can search you out an illusion monster, which will probably be something along the lines of your Nightmare Apprentice. And the Gazelle will then revive you your Mirror Sword Knight. Obviously, off the back of the Nightmare Apprentice, you then have the ability to reset the Chimera Fusion because you'll control Chimera, the flying mythical beast. Then obviously off the Nightmare Apprentice, once you summon it down, will allow you to search out Idea Bells. And then of course you go into the second Chimera Fusion, which will allow you to send the Master Tau from the deck to the grave, and then revive the Idea Bells, the original Sin Keeper. So this basically acts as a pseudo mini anti-spell fragrance. So your end board will be the possibility of a Link to something like an IP Masquerena that can then go into an SP Little Knight using the Nightmare Apprentice during your opponent's turn, or a Nightmare Unicorn if you don't have access to your SP Little Knight. Then on top of that as well, you'll also have the Chimera ripping one card from your opponent's hand already during the end phase, which then puts them down one card advantage already, so they're going to be starting their turn with 5 cards rather than 6. Then of course you've got the Dia Bells, which are going to be setting cards to the field. You'll then have the ability that as long as you control the Chimera Beast in one way or another, you'll have the Mirror Sword Knight that contribute itself off to special summon out another illusion from the deck if you wanted to play another card. But the idea is you're going to be using that as your negation and your tribute fodder off of the back of the Dia Bells. So the Dia Bells will tribute it to pop one of your cards that your opponent has been forced to set, and then you'll be able to banish it from the graveyard in order to negate a monster effect that your opponent activates while you control the Chimera, the mythical beast. Then of course for the hand traps, we do play triple Ash Blossom, triple Infinite Impermanence, and of course one Call by the Grave, just to kind of balance that ability so that you still have hand traps. But if you wanted to, you could turn this into a complete board breaking option, and then you'd be putting in stuff like Triple Tactic Talents, and then of course stuff like Lightning Storms, maybe Harpy's Dusters, entirely up to you. So that's it for the entire main deck. Of course, you can play around with it a little bit more, try and adapt the ratios of course, your illusions a bit more. You don't need to rely on 3 Nightmare Apprentices. You can cut this down to 2, and then that's when you could very easily put in a second Baphomet or a second Gazelle, and then you'd be searching out a second Chimera Fusion. The idea is that I didn't want to flood the deck and make it more Chimera focused. It's only 9 cards in the main deck, but the idea was that you do have the ability, if you wanted to make this a little bit more, you could do so. If you wanted to flip it around and just play Toy Box with Magician's Souls in an illusion deck, you could do that as well, but we wanted to maintain a nice Yugi theme for you all. Moving on to the extra deck, of course, the only Yu-Gi-Oh! Or the Dark Magician kind of fusion monster we play is, of course, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. It's a little bit more specific to be made on this one because you can only make it with the Timaeus Dragon or the Secrets of Dark Magic, and you do need Dark Magician and a Dragon, which obviously, unfortunately, the illusion deck does not have as of yet. Of course, this deck will get another little mini boost when we get the Illusion Link monster, which comes out in info, which will be just over a week away. And in doing so, you then add that into the deck, and then that's where the Toy Box engine with the Magician's Souls will actually help you, because that allows you to get into a Link summon before you fusion lock yourself, and then continue to make your plays. The fusion monster that bridges both Yugi, both Dark Magician and of course the Chimeras is the Guardian Chimera, because this can be made with Secrets of Dark Magic, and it could also be made with the Guardian Fusion, and in doing so you're going to be able to have the ability to pop and draw even more cards, which is why it's one of the cards you want to be playing at too. For the other Chimera cards, we are playing the one Chimera King at the Phantom Beast, the one Baphomet, and of course the one Chimera, the mythical, the Illusion Beast. So you've got your Aggressor, so this could help instigate your OTKs. These are obviously part of the combo where you're going to be looping around the Chimera Fusion in order to get a rip from your opponent's hand, and then a Foolish Burial of the Grandmaster Tau to bring back the Dia Bells. So this is your go first route, and then when it comes back to your turn, as long as you have kept one of these on the board, or you've been able to loop them back by using their graveyard effects, you'll then have the ability to recycle the Chimera Fusion and then go into Chimera the Illusion Beast. Now this one specifically requires Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast plus 1 Illusion Monster, so that's why you need to loop these around in order to make sure you can make this, but it's not the end of everything. You do have your Dark Magician route that you can fall back on as well, and speaking of which, that will allow you to go into your Link climb capabilities. So for the Link monsters, we've got the one Relinquish Anima. These are just if your opponent gets a little bit lapsical and you are going second, you can turn a Magician's Souls into a Relinquish Anima and steal one of their monsters, or basically bait out a negate. Then of course you've got the one Unduct. The reason I chose this over Link Spider is for the idea is it is another dragon access, and what you do is you use Selene to bring back the Dark Magician, turn it into Unduct, and then of course you have the ability to go into a Access Code Talker, which will end up having a light, a wind, and possibly a dark in the graveyard as well, so it's going to have 3 forms of being able to destroy. You don't have to play this, of course you can play the Link Spider, which will be a little bit more effective if you do get hit with Nibiru, so that's something to keep in mind. We've then of course got the IP Masquerena, one of the ideal ones to kind of end your board with. This will then give you the ability to technically link during your opponent's turn and go into something like an SP Little Knight, an Appaloosa, or of course an Underworld Goddess. I then decided to go with the Dark Charmer. You can make this Lila if you want to, the Light Charmer, because when you're going to be making this, you're probably going to be making it with Magician's Souls and then one of the Toy Box monsters, more so Toy Soldier, and in doing so you would then have the ability to either make Dark or Light. So it really is up to you, but the idea is I think Dark is a little bit more consistent right now while Witch is at 3. If the ban list changes that, then of course you can sub this card out for anything you want. SP Little Knight is SP Little Knight, as good, as strong, and as powerful as possible. Like I said, a budget alternative to this will be Nightmare Unicorn. You've then got Selene, and then followed up by Axis Code, Appaloosa, and finally the Underworld Goddess, which is another flex spot, but it's just one of them options that you're going to end your board with a decent amount of monsters on there. So if your opponent does work their way up into a towers, or if they try to interact with you, rather than going to SP Little Knight, you can actually go into an Underworld Goddess, and it just gives you that ability to break a board as well as defend a board as well. So you've got the best of everything. So that's it for the entire main deck and of course the extra deck. I will now show you a very basic 2-card combo utilizing the Toy Box and Magician Souls that will then bridge into the Chimera deck as well. So back in a second. So the 2-card combo consists of Toy Box and Magician Souls. Unfortunately, you don't have many ways to search out your Toy Box, so you are relying on the free copies of that. However, you do end up having 3 Illusion of Chaos plus the additional 2 Preparation of Rites to get you 2 Magician Souls, and these are just representing of the rest of your hand, because you'll see that we'll end our hand with near enough maximum potential as well. So you're going to start off by activating the Toy Box. The Toy Box will then put your Toy Soldier and your Toy Tank into your Spell and Trap zone. You will then summon down Magician's Soul, sending Dark Magician from the deck to the graveyard as cost, and then use Magician Soul's effect to send Tank and Soldier to the graveyard to draw you 2 more blanks. So now your hand is basically recovered back up to 5. You will then use the Toy Soldier and of course the Tank's ability to summon themselves both back, and then you'll be able to trigger off the Toy Soldier's effect to search you out your Mirror Sword Knight. You'll then be able to use the effect of the Toy Tank, so this one gives you the ability to tribute this card and then special summon a level 6 or lower monster from the hand, or if you control Toy Box, you can special summon a level 6 or lower monster from the graveyard instead. Now obviously we want to be summoning it from the hand, so that's how we're going to get into our Mirror Sword Knight. You can then use, before you use Mirror Sword's Knight, because that will lead you to Birthnet, which will then of course ultimately fusion lock you, you want to make sure you get rid of your Magician Souls and your Toy Soldier and go into some form of Link monster so that you are set up for your opponent's turn. So we're going to go into IP Masquerena. Then what you're going to do here is you're going to use your Mirror Sword Knight, and this will tribute itself off to get you the Birthmet. Birthmet's effect will trigger, which will allow you to grab the Gazelle and of course the Chimera Fusion. Again, keep in mind you already have your 5 cards still in the hand, so anything else could be searched out if you need to. You can now activate the Chimera Fusion, which will fuse your Birthmet plus your Gazelle, and this will then allow you to go into your Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts. Now, if you wanted to, this could of course be something like a Cross Sheep, but your ideal targets to revive will be something like a Gazelle, Toy Soldier, or Toy Tank, which isn't really required right now this minute. Now what you want to do is you want to go Chain Link 1 Birthmet, Chain Link 2 Gazelle, and then Chain Link 3 the Chimera, so you have pretty much chain blocked everything you need to. Your Gazelle will then search you out your Nightmare Apprentice, and of course your Birthmet will revive you an illusion from the graveyard, so you're going to want to bring back your Mirror Sword Knight. Now obviously if you are playing more illusion monsters that Mirror Sword Knight can search, then of course you will have the ability to tribute this off during your opponent's turn when you activate the Sin Keeper's effect, but we're not going to be doing that right now because I wanted to keep the engine at a minimal. Now what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to recycle the Chimera Fusion from the graveyard because you control the Mythical Beast, and then you'll be able to utilize your Magician's Nightmare Apprentice to summon itself down by discarding one of the random cards in your hand. So you still have your 4 unknown cards in hand plus the Chimera Fusion. Your Nightmare Apprentice effect will now trigger to allow you to add an illusion monster, and you're going to want to add Diabel's the original Sin Keeper. And then what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to activate your Chimera Fusion, fusing the Chimera, the King of Phantom Beast, plus your Diabel's, and this will now get you into the next Chimera Beast, which will of course be the Birthmet. Birthmet's effect will now trigger to send an illusion from deck to grave, and you're going to want to send your Master Tau. Master Tau will now trigger, and this will allow you to bring back your Diabel's. So now what you have is you have a mini anti-spell on the board, plus you've got the 4 cards in the hand, and you haven't even used your normal summon. So if you wanted to, you could normal summon down Magician's Rod, search out Secrets of Dark Magic, and if you had access to a Dragon or a Dark Monster, or a Dark Magician, sorry, this will then lead you into the ability to be able to go into a Dragoon. Or of course, if you have the ability and you do have Secrets of Dark Magic, you can just normal summon down the Magician's Rod, and as long as you have access to Dark Magician, that will then allow you to set the Secret of Dark Magic, and that will allow you to go into a Guardian Chimera during your opponent's turn without even needing to use the Chimera Fusion. So now what you basically have is during your opponent's turn, you have the ability of the Diabel's that once they have to set one of their spells and traps, you can use this effect to destroy the Mirror Sword Knight. If you are playing more illusion cards, you actually have the ability to chain the Mirror Sword Knight to tribute it off, which is a great kind of loophole because this lets you search back more resource. So you could very easily summon out a Birthmet and then search out another Chimera Fusion and a Gazelle, but that would then mean that you're upping the count of the deck by 3, putting it to a 43 card deck where you're trying to find space for those 3 additional cards. The idea is that even if you do tribute off the Mirror Sword Knight, because you control the Baphomet, you still have the ability to banish this from the graveyard to negate a monster effect your opponent would activate. And then of course not to mention that you also have the IP Masquerena that can go into an Appaloosa if you want to. It can also go into an Underworld Goddess again as well if you want to, or it just could be keep it very simple and go into an SP Little Knight as well. And you've got the 4 cards backing them up, which is going to be either additional hand traps, like I said, you haven't even used your normal summon, and everything else that you might want in between. Anyway, I hope this has been informative and given you a bit of an insight into how this deck works. I really do like the idea, so massive shout out to Joe on that one. I thought it was a very, very creative idea. When he pitched it to me last night, I was like, oh, damn, I completely forgot that that was even a thing. But the toy box is the bridge between everything that you need, which is really kind of cool. And I do like what toy box adds to Dark Magician in general, but the fact they can also add you the Chimera Illusion mixture does give it a really nice feel to be more Yugi themed than anything else before it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Any questions at all, by all means, please put it in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.